Hey guys, Satish here. Today let's see how to use a oscilloscope. So there are a lot of varieties of oscilloscope. These are the old type ones. These are called as CRO, that is cathode ray oscilloscope. These are purely analog ones. Nowadays we have moved into the digital ones, something like this, where it is a lot more advanced. It is not that in the old traditional ones you could only capture the voltage and the time. So in these ones, apart from capturing the voltage and time, you can also see the protocol. For example, you are doing UART transmission. You want to analyze or see what the data it is sending. You can connect one of these and it will show you what is the data you are sending over UART, I2C, SPI. They're way advanced. And few of them have an option to save the captured waveform onto a pen drive. For example, I think this can save it onto a pen drive. You can plug in a pen drive here and you can capture the waveform and save it to the pen drive. So and that data you can directly plug it into MATLAB if you want to do any more further analysis. And few of the scope can do like Fourier analysis, do a frequency domain analysis in the scope itself. So for this tutorial I am using one of these. So these are not the traditional ones. So these don't have a display. You have to connect it to a PC and they will give a software. So once you launch that software, you can see a display like this. So here you have all the options to control it. So the one which I am using has 4 channels. 4 channel, what it means is simultaneously measure 4 waveforms. So while using this you have to be careful because this is powered from the USB source. So if you have connected your laptop to the USB source and you are using the probe to measure, for example, some AC voltage, then that AC voltage via USB may come to your laptop or computer. So you have to be extremely careful. So generally what I do is when I'm measuring any AC voltage, I connect it to my laptop and remove the AC power cord. And for all embedded system applications, this is more than enough. These are since these don't have a display, they are not very expensive compared to the traditional ones. So let me start the software. Okay, now this is a 4 channel oscilloscope. So like let's disable all the channels except channel 1 which we will be using. So normally also you have to don't display channels which you are not using. It will become a bit confusing. So let me turn off all the channels. Here the way to turn it off is you can select channel 2, click on this, channel 3, this, channel 4, this. In the normal traditional ones what will happen is there will be power button here itself. You can just press on this 1, 2, 3, 4, it will turn it off. Yeah, the first thing that you have to do here is you have selected the correct channel where you have connected the probe. For example, in my case, I have connected the probe to channel 1. I have to always make sure that in the oscilloscope I am using channel 1. So if you have connected it to channel 2 and try to see it in channel 1, it won't come. So the first thing you have to make sure is make sure that you are measuring the channel to which you have connected the probe. If either one of them is wrong, you will not get any waveform. The second thing that you have to do here is this channel 1, the measurement mode, first make it to ground and move this point to a point where you want the ground reference. So now what it means here is, so the waveform will start, this is a 0 voltage point. You can either go above this or come below this. So you should always know the baseline, that is the 0 line from which the measurements are done. So it is also specified by this one channel 1 baseline, it is already showing here. Okay, once you have said that, you can go to DC. So always measure with DC, not AC. I will tell you why. So once you have DC, the next thing what you have to do here is you have to make sure that all your the probe is working properly and all your calibration or the settings are correct. So for that what you can do is all the oscilloscope will have a test point. So let me show it on this scope. So this is the test point. So at this point where you can see the bottom one where it is written ground, and what is written is the other point is it will generate a 2 volts peak to peak at 1 kilohertz. Similarly all the oscilloscope even from the traditional one, so this has At this point it will generate 5 volts at 1 kilohertz. So this one also, there will be some point here, they will mention what is the frequency and what will be the voltage. Even the old ones also will have this. So as soon as you turn the oscilloscope and connect the probe and adjust the ground line, the next thing you have to do here is make sure that the probe is working and all your settings are right. So in my case, let me connect my probe to the test point. So the probe which I am using is this one. It looks something like this. So let me connect it to the test point. So now I have connected to the test point and I have started to get some waveform. I don't know what is the waveform, and so now what we will have to do is we have to adjust the voltage scale and time scale so that we can see the waveform correctly. So now first point is what should be the frequency. You can randomly change it like this and see what is the frequency, or else if you know it, so it is a 1 kilohertz. So your period will be 1 divided by 1 kilohertz, that is around 1 millisecond. So if you keep it to 1 millisecond, now this is the start point. Okay, let me move the trigger. I'll tell you what this trigger is doing. So now this is the start point. So the waveform starts here and this is the first cycle, and this x-axis, one full scale is division is 1 millisecond. So now I know that my frequency, my period is 1 millisecond, so my frequency is 1 kilohertz. Basically now we have come to the conclusion that the x-axis, the time scale is correct. So in most of the modern ones, what you can do is you can go and show the measurement. You can go measure channel 1 the frequency. So now it is a 1 kilohertz signal. Now we have to also make sure that the height is 2 volts. So one division is, so the unit here is, one division is 1 volt. So this 1 volt is 1 division. So you go to measure and it is showing 2 volts. So my voltage measurement is also correct. So if you go vertical, peak to peak, it will show it is 2.01 volts. So my measurement is accurate. So when I am testing the signal, I am only connecting the positive, that is this point. This point should be grounded. But since I am using the same oscilloscope, the probe ground and this point where the signal is generated, both the grounds are common, so I don't have to connect. So in some cases, if you are using another source point to calibrate your device, then you have to connect both ground and the waveform generation point, else it will not work. As I told you in the previous chapter, to measure or interconnect two circuits, you have to always have a common ground. Okay, now I have got it correct. There are 2-3 points where this will go wrong actually. For example, so this is a probe I am using. So here there is a slider switch, which you can see here black. So in the probe that I am using, it has 1x and 10x. So 1x means it will not step down the measured voltage. It will just give the whatever is measuring will be sent to the oscilloscope for processing. If you put it to 10x, then it will step down the voltage. So let's assume that you are measuring 100 volts. The scope cannot take up 100 volts. So you will put it to 10x, then what will happen is that 100 volts will be stepped down to 10 volts. So let me see in my scope, currently it is in 1x. So if now I am moving the scope probe to 10x. So the voltage waveform became smaller. So if it was in 10x and if you measure it now, it is not 2.2 volts. So this error can happen. So you have to always make sure that what kind of probe you are using. Is the 1x or 10x? If you put it to 10x, then you can see, put it to 2 volts. The peak to peak voltage is 2.15. So let me put the trigger point here so it can measure properly. So you have to always specify what is the type of probe you are using. So in my case, I am going to put the probe in 1x mode, and here also I am trying to tell us I am using the 1x mode. So you have to make sure that the test signal, that is 1 kilohertz and the 2 volts, is coming correctly here. If it is an older type probe, then it will not show it on the display here, you have to make sure that it is the frequency and amplitude are correct by using the scale or the graph they have given here. Just to recap it, the time division is time per division, means this is one division from this point to this point is 1 millisecond. I've set it to 1 millisecond, so I can go up to 500 micro, so with whichever range I want. So 500 micro means this plus this, that is 2 divisions will give you 1 millisecond. And for the voltage it is here vertical, that is my channel 1, what is the voltage, each division currently is 1 volt, so we have 2 divisions, the waveform height is 2 divisions, so it is 2 volts. So before I talk about triggers, let me connect it to a transformer and see what how to measure the sinusoidal voltage, and trigger point is easier to explain in a transformer also. So now let me adjust the voltage scale of channel. Okay, channel 1, 10 volts. So here what happened, the frequency is 50 hertz. So 20 millisecond will give one full waveform. Now this is how we hold the waveform. So you might have seen that as soon as you connect the probe to the voltage source or the waveform, you might have seen that the voltage waveform is not stable, it starts to move around. So with this kind of a thing we will not be able to measure anything. So for all the measurements and to understand the waveform, we want the voltage waveform to be still. So using triggers you can achieve. So let me show how using the trigger point you will be able to hold the waveform still. There are two trigger points. One is the time trigger, which is here, and one is the voltage trigger, that is here. So now you see that it has triggered. So if you move the trigger point away from this, it has started to move. Now let's see how this happened. So generally what we will do is we will move the trigger point to the center for these kind of waveforms. So if you want to, you can move it to any point and it will trigger it. The time trigger will happen. So this is the trigger menu that is here. So in all the scopes there will be a separate trigger menu. So if you take here, there is a trigger menu here, that is a horizontal and vertical. The scope there will be a separate trigger section. So first thing which you have to specify is which waveform are you going to set the trigger to. So if you have multiple channels, for example, I have channel 2 here generating its own waveform. Let me do one thing, connecting the test signal to channel 2. So this is, I am changing the channel 2 voltage. So this channel 2 is at 1 kilohertz and this is at 50 hertz. So that is why you're not able to see the square wave properly. So now you have to specify which channel are you going to hold it. So now if you hold it to channel 2 or channel 1. So let's trigger with channel 1. So what is the source of trigger? Then is it a rising edge or falling edge? I'll tell you what this is. So now let's keep it to the rising edge. So now if you move this point above this, you can see the voltage waveform running. So when you moved it lower, it stopped. So now let's see what happened. First thing is the time trigger. So now let's assume I have kept it at this point. So it is triggering based on channel 1 rising edge. So and this voltage. So if you see, if I vary this voltage, you can see the waveform moving around. So what is happening is, if I move it here, the voltage waveform triggered at this point. So at what voltage level should it trigger? So it has to, so now if I say, now let's assume I have set it to 1 volt, or this is the channel 1 is 5 volts. So the one tab is 5 volts. So if I set it to 5 volts and the rising edge. So when the waveform crosses 5 volts, at this point the waveform will hold. At the trigger point is, it will trigger at this point. So if I move this point to here, so you see here it triggered at this point. So let me bring closer, you see it triggered at this voltage. It triggered at a higher voltage. So you can decide where it triggers. So and the rising edge. So this voltage will have this. If you see the waveform, that 1 volt which I have set it to happened at this point in the rising edge and at the falling edge. So since I have selected the rising slope, it triggered here. So if I select the falling edge, it will trigger here. So if I select the rising edge, it will trigger when the voltage is in the rising, there is edge from 0 it is rising, it has triggered at this point. The falling edge, it will trigger when the voltage is falling, and it will always trigger at this time, or the other time trigger at this point. So they generally keep it here, and it can be in the negative. It's not that it has to be in the positive. So let me put it to positive. So if I come down, when this voltage increased in the rising edge went above the trigger point, it will trigger at that time. So if I move it outside, what is happening is it is not stopping, because it is expecting the voltage to rise above the trigger point. Since the voltage is not rising above the trigger point, it does not know where to trigger and hold the waveform. Similarly, if the voltage point is below also, it will not know where to trigger and hold the waveform. So this is how the trigger works. Hope you are able to understand that. Similarly, I can put it to channel 2 also. The trigger source, I will change it to channel 2. You see the trigger became blue color, that is the channel source color. Let me zoom into this position. See, it is triggering. It is not trying to trigger with the channel 1, it is triggering channel 2, a rising edge. So when the channel 2 waveform is crossing this trigger voltage, at this time point, the time trigger, it will trigger. Since this is almost a straight line, you are not able to make out any difference like how you saw in the sinusoidal. If I put it to falling edge, it triggered in the falling edge. If I change it to channel 1, it has triggered here. Now it is triggering the channel 1. Channel 2, it is not holding, because we have put set the trigger to channel 1. Let me put it to 10 milliseconds. So just to repeat, so it will, if you have set it to channel 1, it will trigger or hold the waveform based on the channel 1 voltage, and the trigger source is channel 1 and the rising edge. So it will wait for the voltage waveform to cross this trigger point on the rising edge, and at this point where this trigger and the time trigger meets, it will hold the waveform. So initially I told you that you should always put the scope to DC mode and not AC mode. So basically what will happen in AC mode is, if there is any DC component, it will remove the DC component and only show the AC component. So let me explain what that means. Yeah, now you know that this is a AC waveform and this is a DC waveform. So now for this setup, what I am going to do here is, I have put a transformer that is 220 to 12 volts, that is AC, and I have a 12 volts DC supply, and this is to 12 volts RMS. Now what I will do here is, this transformer secondary and this I will connect in series. I will make this point ground and measure the voltage with respect to ground. So the expected waveform is something like this. So now this is the DC waveform. So on top of this, you should get the sinusoidal waveform. Okay, in this case what will happen, the peak is greater. So now the DC is 12 volts and this RMS is 12 volts. So the peak here is greater than 12 volts. So basically what will happen here is, so now this is a 0 reference and this is the DC line. What will happen is, this will go above and come slightly below. Now this is the expected waveform when we add up this two sources. So I have set up a small connection like this. So let me show you in the scope. So before that, if you put it to DC, you will see that, and if you put the scope to AC, what will happen is, it will remove this DC component and only show the AC. So let's see that. So let me turn off channel 2. So if you are not using any channel, turn it off to avoid all the confusion. So let me just set it up. Okay, as I told you, first thing you have to do here is select channel 1, and first I will make it ground. Set my ground level to 0. Now let me connect it to the waveform, the added waveform, the one. So you can see that this is the sine wave and it is shifted above the ground line. This is exactly what we had drawn here. So since there is a 12 volts DC shift, see, if you see here, no, the voltage is division is 12. The AC has shifted by around 12 volts. Okay, now if I so this is the actual waveform, that is this DC voltage plus this AC voltage. Since I have connected in series, this is the expected waveform. So as soon as if I move it to AC, what happens is the DC component is removed. So you will only see the AC component. So if you put it to AC, what happens is you are not getting the actual waveform. If there is any DC component to it, it will remove the DC component and show you the waveform. So always make sure that while starting it is in DC so that you get the actual waveform. Only in cases where you have an off shifted AC waveform and only want to see the AC component of it, you move it to AC. Always make sure that you are in DC to get the correct waveform. So in this trigger sweep, so we talked about auto and manual. There is something called as a single. So now let's talk about this. So this is where this is a mode that will be used when you want to capture a moment. So there is some transition is happening, and during the transition you want to capture all the waveforms. Then you can use this mode. So I will show it for a button press. So what I have done here is, so I have a 12 volts line, I have a pull up resistor like this, and I have a push button here which I will be pushing, and this is connected to ground. So now at this point I want to see what is the waveform. If the switch is not pressed, this will be at 12 volts, and at the point when the switch is pressed, this will become 0. So it will make a transition from 12 to 0. So now I have to capture this transition and see what happens. So you will be amazed to see that you are expecting a waveform like this. It will be a high, and as soon as the switch is pressed, it will go low. So this is not what happens actually during any switch button press or a switch press. No, there will be a lot of intermediate transition that happens, and then finally it will set here. So now this we want to capture at the point where it makes the transition. So now let's set it up for this. I have a hardware that is set up which has been set up like this, and this point I have connected to channel 1. Okay, now let's see how to capture this moment. So till now what we were our capture was continuous, means we were continuously triggering and holding. So now what we will do here is we will do a single shot capture. So for that, first we have to make sure that it is working properly, like the transition is happening. So now my switch is open, the voltage is at 12, and now it is at 0, 12, 0. So now I am able to see the waveform, but not during the transition. If you see, during the transition, sometimes you can see there is a bit of noise. See, that noise I want to capture. So for that, what I have to do is I have to trigger it. So I know the transition happens from high to low. So my trigger point should be somewhere in between, else it will not trigger. Then what I have to do here is I have to put it to a single shot or a falling edge. So now just before that, let me put it to auto. So now it is high, it is low. So I want to go capture the transition when it makes from high to low. So I want a falling edge. So it should trigger at the falling edge, and let's see. So I'll move it to single. So now this is running. So let me press the button. You see this, it made a transition, but it also went up. So let me put it to some microseconds and see what happens in that microsecond. To restart it, I have to run again. See, you see, there is some noise here. Since I was too much, since I had gone down to 10 microseconds, I was not able to see that noise. Let me put it to 50 microseconds. See the noise. So there were multiple transitions that happened. So when I clicked the button, it went low, it came up. Again, after some time, it went low. So this is the noise which I was talking about. So when you may press a switch, it is never a clean press from high to low. There is always some small transition that keeps happening. So to avoid that, what we generally do is we put a capacitor. So now there is some noise here. So the transition happened, but it is not clean. So this is how we set up a single shot. Means in these two modes, that is normal and auto, there was a continuous capture of waveform. But in a single shot, what happens here is there is a single capture and it will hold. So basically what it has done here is it has captured for 50 microsecond into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So around 500 microsecond it has captured. So I can go for 1 millisecond also. See, I have put it to 1 millisecond. Now let's see what is the noise in the transition. So you can see a lot of noises. So a button press is never a very smooth button press. There will always be some transition that happens. So this is how we use a single shot. Basically what we are doing here is we are capturing the waveform or holding a waveform based on some transition. So we captured it on channel 1 negative transition below this certain point. So in some scopes there will be external trigger. Basically if it is a four channel scope, you can capture all the 4 channels based on some external transitions. So let me see if I can put back one of the channel 2 waveforms and capture channel 2 waveform also. When this transition happens, nothing is going to change in channel 2, just for the case of showing you, I'm just doing that. So now you can see channel 2. Now let me capture channel 1 transition. Also you can see what happened to channel 2 waveform, but nothing in channel 1 is going to nothing is going to happen. Just you can see the holded waveform. So I'll put single. See, it captured the noises during the transition. When I press the button, there was a lot of transition before it settled to low. It was able to capture for this time duration, that is 10 division into 1 millisecond, that is 10 millisecond. And if there are some other waveforms that are there in the other channel, it will also hold it. Okay, let me put it to auto setup. So it is going, the software is going through certain things, and see, it has analyzed the waveform and set up the voltage and frequency so that you can see the waveform and also set the trigger point. Okay, so now this is the auto. But if you don't want auto, you can always manually go and set it up here, as I showed you earlier. Hope you are able to follow how to use the scope.